Hi, I'm Flynn.
Kellock.
Oma.
Shreya.
And I'm your DM, Ethan. Welcome to Venture Forth. Previously, you all had successfully made your way to Oakenspire, although not in the correct bodies. Kalek, Oma, and Shreya had found themselves swapped into their new forms as they attempted to figure out what was going on out on the open sea. You guys had decided to actually make your way to Oakenspire, as Hayfried might be the only one who could actually help you fix this problem. But once you guys got to Oakenspire and fixed that teleportation circle and met up with Hayfried, you guys discovered he was still sort of tapped from what he had done with Flynn, so he wasn't going to be able to help you. So what he had suggested was going to a temple within Oakenspire to where these priests might be able to actually switch your bodies back. He gave you a couple of gifts and a tool that would be used to help swap your souls back. You guys went to this temple and had discovered that indeed one of the clerics here had been practicing magic long enough to be able to complete this ritual. She took you down beneath the temple into sort of the basement area, the dungeon beneath this temple, and began this ritual, taking a shard of this strange metal that Hayfried had given you and ripping open a tear into the elemental plane of air. And as your souls were being lifted out of your bodies, unfortunately, in the plane of air, a couple of air elementals slipped through, and you guys had to make sure not only to stay safe while these air elementals were thrashing you around, but also to stay in the circle of this spell. Luckily, you guys were able to spend enough time in the circle to where the ritual was completed, and you guys all made your ways back to your own bodies. Though when you guys returned to your own bodies, you realized that you guys are pretty well damaged at this point. You guys are tired, exhausted, and even though you guys have a little bit more understanding and a little bit more of a realization of what was going on from being in the other bodies, you guys are beat. So, as you guys emerge from the temple and as you guys walk out into this beautiful open park area, it is still and it is quiet. You guys can still see that some of the thunderous clouds that had been plaguing the previous couple days here are still overhead, so you can't quite pick out any of the sky. But as you guys are walking out into the park, what would you guys like to do?
Ariel still agreed on getting to the inn and just turning in for the night. It's been a hard couple of hours here.
Yeah, I'm really tired.
Yeah, rest would probably be pretty good, too.
I want to do one thing. And I look up toward the sky. Before we lay down, I've been meaning to do this. And I'm going to just take off.
Okay.
And as I do, I sweep up into the air. But as I do, I hinge to either side, and I attempt to do a little flip in the air that always gives me joy, but it's a little bit half cocked as I'm still tired, and where normally you'd expect me to just go for a while, I pretty quickly come back down and be like, ugh, no, you're right. That was not nearly as satisfying as it usually is.
As he does this, I watch him wistfully as he's soaring through the air. Yeah, well, sorry if I wore out the bones in those wings are brittle, so I wasn't ready for how they would feel.
It actually just kind of feels like I slept funny, but I did hope I don't sleep funnier tonight, because then I might have some real problems.
I look sort of with frustration at my bandaged hand, and I pull the wrapping tighter to where Alma wasn't really maintaining the tautness of the bandage.
Aww.
Yeah, well, I'll have to get accustomed. Let's head in, yeah?
Yes, I is.
The perched prolly. if I remember correctly.
I still can't believe that you only flew once, Kellic.
Well,
If I had wings, I'd be doing it all the time.
not all of us are thrill seekers, Flynn. Some of us like to stay alive.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
All right, so you guys leave the park and head over to the Perched Prawley that you guys obviously remember from when you guys had come in contact with it the first time. And it is late at night, so you guys see that as you walk in, there is just the faintest embers of a dying fire still in the fireplace. You look around and you can smell from what was probably dinner, the smell of warm food, warm home-cooked food. And you look around, this is a pretty big lobby, probably one of the largest inns that you guys have seen, but it is desolate. There's no one here. You see a long wooden table off in the corner, and you see what looks like a reception desk off in the other corner.
Do we already have a room?
I think so.
I don't.
Did we get a room?
I think we just told people to send us messages here.
We did.
Uh-huh.
Did you guys lose your memory after switching bodies?
Well, do you remember, Flynn? Or do you need a trinket to remind you?
No, I that's why I'm asking, because I forgot too, and I don't know if it's the body thing or if it's something else.
Everyone check their pockets, or I'll check my sash.
I'll check my
I really don't think we actually came here.
I think that's right.
This doesn't look familiar to me at all.
I don't remember it.
And I think we just went straight from the party to Avery's home.
The worst thing that could happen is we get an extra room, right? Let's see about getting some chambers here. I'll approach the reception desk.
Okay. As you approach and you sort of stand there in front of the reception area, a faint chime of a bell goes off without you even touching anything. And from behind a couple of red curtains, you see a dwarven man pop out. He's got just a very patchy red beard and a pretty sizable mole in the middle of his face. And he walks out and, hi.
Hello there.
What can I do for you?
Hi. Me and the companions here are just looking for rooms if you have any available.
Yeah. And he rubs his eyes and he sort of looks down at his desk and rummages through some papers and grabs a notebook and places it down in front of him. And he says, a little late for you guys to be coming in.
We've been on the road. It doesn't look like you have much of a nightlife here.
No, not really. Everyone's in by sundown.
Right. Forgot where I was for a moment. We don't mean to cause a fuss.
No, not at all. Can I get you guys set up with a room?
Yes. Do you have one that would accommodate the lot of us?
Yeah, I've got a couple of them open, depending on what you guys want. You guys want something higher end, lower end? We've got some great higher end rooms, bigger, spacious, plenty of room to keep all your stuff safe, secure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
And
splurge.
we can all be together?
Yeah, you guys would all be in one room.
Take a step up.
Is the possibility that there's a window? Could be a large window.
I can set you up with one by a window. Yeah.
That's good.
I've got one right here that's got two windows. One in the bedroom, one in the bathroom.
There's a bathroom inside the room?
Yeah, there's a bathroom inside the room.
Kellic.
What?
Could we have that one?
I don't have much money, Oma.
How much is it?
This one right now, we're pretty vacant. Let's say 5 gold.
Yeah.
I got it. And I'll slam 6 gold on the table.
Okay.
You guys have been through a lot, so I'll treat you guys.
Yeah, traveling has been really tough.
Yes. The
The
travel.
walk.
The usual.
Yeah. It's just, a lot. I'm going to bed.
I don't make a habit of asking many questions, so I'll just leave you guys to whatever weird stuff you guys are doing. I appreciate it. And he swipes 5 of the gold off into a drawer and takes the 6th gold and puts it in his back pocket. Is there anything I can take up to the room for you guys?
No, I think we've got all we can carry on us.
All right.
Do you guys have
Thanks.
breakfast in the morning?
Yeah.
What time would that be?
That is going to be at 7 o'clock, usually to about 8:30. We've got a chef that works here. He takes orders. I mean, if you want to have something special, I can put in an order for you right now and have it ready for you in the morning.
You know what? Yeah. You guys have lemon pastries?
I could have him do a lemon pastry. He does some pretty great desserts.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. That's just going to be for a pastry, 5 copper.
Got it. Give him another gold.
Okay. He puts the other gold in his back pocket.
Figured.
All right. I'll have him put that in right now. Any other special requests?
Just one. I would urge you not to judge too harshly. We're not so weird the longer that you stay around us.
I put my hand on the table, and is it a wooden table?
Yes, it is. It's made of wood.
And so slowly from the wooden table, these like tiny little shamrocks like kind of sprout around my fingers.
Between our urges and our tastes and our appetites, we're actually quite fantastical in our own way.
I avert my eyes. I'm just staring at the fireplace.
But all in good fun.
And I give him a wink. Then I turn. And then the shamrocks shrink back into the table.
So that's going to be a no on the food order. Okay.
I'd like if you could just have some cornmeal, oatmeal, something of that nature.
Yeah.
Something
of course.
simple.
Of course.
Terrific.
Perfect. Okay. If you'd like, I can show you guys up to your room.
Thanks.
All right. And he steps out from behind the counter, and he walks out with you guys and takes you guys up 2 flights of stairs and down the end of a hallway and opens up the door. And it's like a thick wooden door. It's got like these beautiful floral engravings on the outer edge of it. And as he opens it, you can just see that there's some weight to this door, and it opens up into some pretty beautiful chambers. You can see that there's a common area, and as you guys walk in, you can see that there are 2 bedrooms on either side, and then attached to each of those bedrooms is a designated bathroom, and you can see each of the rooms has their own window. But as you guys look around, the more you guys look around, you can see some like a little potted flower on a table. You can see that this room is pretty well dressed. Some beautiful silk curtains lining those windows. And as you guys walk in, the dwarven gentleman takes his leave, shuts the door behind you, and you guys are free to yourselves.
I immediately run in and I jump on one of the beds, up and down, up and down, and up and down. And then I like put my arms up and I fall back so that I'm laying back on there, and I roll around and I roll around.
Wow, this place is nice.
I don't know that I've ever had such fine accommodations.
We should do this more often.
You mean journey to the capital city of one of the world's great civilizations?
Guys, last night
Did you just compliment dwarves, Straya?
It feels very strange to me, but I'm just getting back and used to adjusted to being in this.
And I flick my fingers again.
No, I still can't do that. I can't do that anymore.
I look over at Oma.
Guys, last night we slept outside of a cave in the rain, and tonight, luxury.
Just makes you reflect on all those who don't have the opportunity, to sleep in such fine places.
No, I wasn't thinking about that at all. Why would you do that?
Because it keeps things in perspective, Alma.
I don't like perspective, and I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go into the bathroom and shut the door and take a long bath.
Okay. All right. And as you're sitting there, you see that there's like 5 different kinds of soaps, and you've got a little scrub at the end of the bath, and like it's pretty decked out. It's great.
I make as many bubbles as possible.
Okay.
And I use shape water to make like dolphins swim next to me, and like I'm gonna have a great.
Okay. I'm gonna have you make a general dexterity check.
Don't break anything, Alma!
Crash. 18.
18. You're keeping it pretty well contained within the bathtub. No water, no soap is getting anywhere that you don't want it. And the rest of you guys just hear in the bathroom water being splashed around.
does put a smile on my face to see Alma being able to be a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do deserve a break. Oh, how are you feeling, Flynn?
Really, really tired. I think I'm still recovering. I'm feeling almost better. Yeah.
From your little bout with yourself?
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you're up to snuff.
Yeah, I've been reading my books a little bit more, and I think I'm figuring something out, but I don't know. I'm still so beat. I think I'm just I would love to party here right now, but I'm really tired. I might just go right to bed.
Oh, understandable.
How about you and I work on creating the party? Flynn,
As I nod my head toward the door,
I think our friend there mentioned that there's no real after evening things to do to speak of. We may be on our own to create it ourselves.
Oh, right. Maybe we shouldn't have a party because we might get in trouble and get thrown in jail like Timmy.
Could it be revelry against the law in a place like this?
I wouldn't put it past it.
It would seem there's some kind of curfew. You know, the Tavern Keep was...
Seems like there's a lot of curfews in this kind of place.
Yeah. I'd be, celebration is in order. We've got our bodies back. We didn't die. But maybe quiet celebration.
Well, and I think perhaps this room is too well put together. I think there might be some changes in order.
and I like
Don't break anything, Shia!
I touch my finger to the plant, and then I extend my staff up toward the ceiling, and I want to druid craft some like really colorful vines that are want to dangle like across the ceiling that almost have a not quite like confetti like little spinner helicopter things, but they sway and they twirl, and there are like little multicolored flowers that are shiny emerging from the vines from the ceiling. Can I do that with druid craft?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Let's go.
Hell yeah, you can do that. That's awesome.
All right.
So are these like hanging from the ceiling down, like where we can touch them?
Yes, they are.
Oh man, it's so tempting! And I grab one and I like kick off the bed corner and kind of swing around. Woo!
All right, well, that's nice, I guess.
You can feel them too, they're very soft.
And I like brush one against my feathers.
We'll admire them from afar.
Yeah, right, sure. Yes.
So I'm gonna stay in the tub with my shapes in the water until they fade, which is about an hour from now.
Okay.
And once they fade, is there like a big fluffy bath towel or like robe?
Make an investigation check.
19.
19. There's sort of a standard towel laying there by the bed, but you're not satisfied with that. So you go and you open up all the cabinets, and you do find a cabinet filled with fluffy towels and like robes and little face towels and just all of the amenities of luxury.
Great. I'm gonna put on one of the robes, and it's way too big for me.
Way too big.
And I'm gonna wrap it around myself, and then I'm gonna exit the room, see all the flowers. Okay. And then I'm just gonna trudge to one of the beds, and I'm just gonna curl up and go to sleep.
Okay. With the hot water and with the huge robe and the comfy bed, this is probably the fastest you have ever fallen asleep. And just being beaten up. That also adds to it. Okay, Olma is asleep. Is there anything else you guys want to do before crashing?
Yeah, I mean, that was an hour later, so I'd probably already be asleep by the time she got out of the...
Okay.
So I'm probably passed out on one of the beds.
Before I craft my little like vine lamb's ear bed, I'm gonna like dot the tip of the crystal to each little vine, and from the vines, I would, and again, you'll have to tell me if this is minor enough, but little crickets I want to emerge from the flowers, and then just give like a soft, like not audible so that other rooms in the area can hear it, but like soft enough so that it gives a comforting sort of like nice cricket soundscape for us to fall asleep to.
Yes.
I will allow it.
Yeah!
I am really stretching here. I thank
Love
you.
it.
I
No,
appreciate
it's
it.
cool. It's
Okay.
really cool.
You're finally back in your body. You gotta
You gotta take this. Is there a fireplace in this room?
There's not a fireplace in this room.
Mhm.
You did see a pretty sizable one down in the lobby, though.
In the lobby?
Yeah.
Are there sconces in this room?
There are, yeah.
I would like to douse one of the sconces.
Okay.
And if I can find some privacy, I would collect some of the ash and stand, actually rather kneel next to one of the windows, and pull out my 3-ringed amulet and just gaze for a moment at the amulet. Habitually running my fingers around each of the rings, and getting ash on it as I do. And then I'll take some of the ash, and I will just do as I was shown and run it down from my forehead to my nose. What's to be done? What can we do together? Those people at the temple, they called me a seer. They said I could see things others can't. So why do I feel so blind? And then I will just take a moment and just sit with that thought.
Okay. Everyone is going to sleep? Yes?
Yes.
Since I kind of fell asleep a little earlier, I'm hoping maybe I could wake up a bit earlier. Just kind of like...
I'll
Yeah, of
effectively take first watch. I know we're not doing watches, but I will have done that.
Yeah, as you take some time, you hear the streets outside are silent. The rooms next to you, silent. It seems almost as if this place is deserted, but you know from the previous hours walking around the city, it's definitely not. It is just very quiet. So as you finish what would essentially be a first watch, you go to sleep, and a little while later, Flynn, you wake up.
I look around to the group that's still slumbering, sleeping. I guess I feel a little better. I look over to my bag and grab my books, kind of lay them out on my bed as I kind of like sit crisscross and just... All right. There's gotta be some answers in here. I'll open up the abjuration book, start flipping through. This all doesn't make any sense. Like, there's so many words, there's so many letters. I look down at my arm. Wait, hold it up to one of the books, one of the symbols, and look at the abjuration symbol on my arm. That matches. That matches there, and that matches there. And I'll flip through the other book, my Iron Light book, and that match. This is S.H.I.E.L.D. But why is there so many? Why is there all this text? I look back at my book. There's only like a few. Oh, hold on. Muscle tension. Volume of voice. Stop points. What? This is way more technical. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Where's my Iron Light book? Okay. Where's that spell? Huh. Of course I didn't read these. Victor would be so upset. All right, well, I guess I'll read it now. Less pressure when dragging fingers. Okay. Start at a non-dominant foot heel? Is that what I was doing wrong? I'll look around to the group again. And smirk. I'll look out to the window. Is the sun rising yet?
You can see that the sun is just beginning to rise over the horizon.
Well, if it works, it'll be one hell of an alarm. All right. I'll hop off my bed. Let's give this another go.
Okay. As you hop off of your bed, you take your stance and you take note of some of the more technical aspects of this spell. And whereas before it was just sheer force of will that you were trying to get this thing out, this time when you're casting it, it is more deliberate, more thought out, more well placed. And as you go to cast this, it feels smooth. It feels like you're not having to force anything. And all of a sudden, these winds begin to pick up around your feet. And the air begins to move around you, and it moves up towards your knees and up towards your hips. And almost like a tornado, it begins to spin and whirl around you. And pretty soon, things are flying across the room. Everyone else jolts awake as you guys see Flynn in this absolute tornado of wind throwing things across the room.
Guys, I did it!
One moment of peace, Phil! One bloody moment of peace!
I'm coming.
Is it you or is it me? Is it me or is it me? Is it me or is it me?
And I look at.
What?
I have power!
Yes! Getting colorful plant life in me eyes!
And Flynn, as you are in the midst of this tornado of wind and looking down at your books in front of you that are still laying there on the ground, it clicks in your head how much more technical you need to be and how much more thought out all of this stuff is. And as that piece sort of unlocks in your mind, you level up.
Hey!
Did we get a long rest?
The rest of you got along with it.
And as I realize that my party is getting visibly upset, I will drop my concentration. Whew. Guys, I did it! I did it!
Did what?
Disturb us once more with your tomfoolery.
Well, yeah, that too. But I also figured out what I was doing wrong.
And what was that? What were you doing right?
Well, what I was doing wrong. What I was doing wrong was I was trying to force magic out, and I wasn't focusing. I wasn't thinking about it. And before, maybe it was because I've practiced so much on these, I guess, movements, I knew them. But this is a movement I've never done before. So now I had to learn it. And I was just winging it. Improvising it, like I've been told, but I guess there's a balance.
Well, I think you may have been winging it right out.
I know this is jumping back a little bit, but as the wind was circulating, can I say that I could have maybe directed some of the wind, like, out past the windows, or would the windows have stayed sealed? What kind of windows are they?
If you had directed wind out towards the windows, they would have burst open.
They would have burst open.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say that I did that as like a gut, like not almost inadvertently being like, holy shit, there's wind. I'm going to direct it. Are we in danger?
Yeah, for sure. So now at this point, the windows are completely open. The curtains have actually blown out and are now hanging. While they're still hanging inside, the bottoms of the curtains are actually hanging outside of the windows.
So, returning to that sentence,
You may have just winged it right out into the world.
Oh, yeah.
My short friend.
I'll look around the room. Oh, yeah.
It's a mess.
Well, I'm glad that the moment we had some luxury, we immediately went about defacing it.
I think it's actually quite a brilliant prank, Flynn.
Yeah? I mean, I can try and do it again.
Is it possible to perhaps make the room look even worse?
Oh, yeah. And I'll look to Kellic, and as I'm like getting my fingers rubbed together in like the abjuration, and I'm about to tap it on my knee, I look at him and it's disapproving, I'm guessing.
I
don't know. I'll look to him and I'll see what he's.
I glower.
We know you're disapproving. Just tell us how disapproving.
This is a rude awakening. I am very unhappy.
So as I look at him, I let the magic in my fingers fade. I don't know if
Certainly once was enough, Flynn.
Right. Too much of a good thing. And all
We're
that.
going to have to put the room back together, or we're going to be in trouble
You're
here.
going to have to put the room back together. I'm not doing anything. I didn't cause this.
Or we just give our friend downstairs another gold.
Or we just
And I look down into the street.
go about our day.
This is a place where people get hanged for wearing purple robes.
So 2 gold then, probably?
Just clean it up. And you can just get rid of all the plant life, right? So that'll be a start. And then you can just pick up all the mess you made.
I'm not quite sure about.
I tap my staff against the wall.
It's a bit full at the moment. Don't know if I'll be able to take it all back in.
Yeah, I'm like really
If you
tired.
two don't clean this up, then some unfortunate person who never gets to sleep in these rooms ever and sleeps in a broom closet downstairs is going to have to do that.
So-
Clean up your mess.
So 3 gold?
Clean up your bloody mess, you child.
Fine. Okay.
I twirl
Fine,
the
we're gonna do
crystal
it.
staff upside down and start sucking the vines back up into it. But they leave a sticky residue on the ceiling that goes unnoticed. I hope.
I'm going to attempt to reach out and grab the curtains that are probably like 3 times my size and
Yes.
pull them back into the open window.
Okay. I'm going to have both of you guys. What's the check about?
Make a cleanup check.
Cleanup check. Yeah. Just roll it.
An
straight,
adulthood check.
straight D20.
And this is not a disadvantage because my exhaustion is piling on.
Your exhaustion is gone.
Wait, what's the check?
3.
Make it a wisdom check.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
5. Does that change the outcome? Do I fall out the window? I should have
Maybe.
said that.
We'll see.
I should have said that.
See how well Shia does.
22.
22.
Oh.
Okay. Flynn, you're totally preoccupied with the spell that you just cast.
Yeah.
And like you're sort of cleaning up the same corner for like 20 minutes. You're just sort of daydreaming and wiping up the same corner that is now at this point well cleaned. But you don't quite notice that as Shreya cleans up the rest of the room to pretty much how it was before, putting things back on the shelves, putting things back on tables, and all that.
Do I notice the sticky residue that remains on the ceiling?
Make a perception check.
Okay, that is a 21.
21.
Oh.
Carefully inspecting everything that these two are doing. Yeah, you notice there's a little bit of sticky stuff on the ceiling.
I can't believe I'm asking for your help with this, but bear with me here. Apareo. And I cast Destroy Water
Okay.
on the residue.
Okay. And as you do, it's like this goop, and it all dries up, and it begins to sort of float down as this dust into the room.
Thank you. Thank you kindly. All right, are we all done here? Should we get about to rescuing Olma's chum?
How are we gonna do that though? This seems really bad.
That's a good question. I hadn't really considered the plan.
It's not like we can just walk in.
Perhaps there's a seedy underbelly to this clenched city.
Yeah.
A person with some kind of information on the run-ins of the prison. Our last prison break didn't quite go as planned, if I could even call it a plan. So
No.
probably better if we prepare for this one.
Okay, how do you find a seedy underbelly?
We could start in the tavern downstairs.
Well, if this city is as hard and regimented as a rock, why don't we simply lift it up, see what's there?
What does that mean?
Well, in my experience in the wilds, and I have no reason to believe that this place is anything like that, but I've noticed that the more you try to contain life, the more life struggles to break out. So maybe we could find the breaking points of this city. Maybe we could find the places where there is the most control, and then we can see what might be pushing against it.
I think that tracks. Shall we start with breakfast?
Yes, that's a great idea.
Oh, right, lemon pastries. And I run downstairs.
Wait, I wanted to ask you something.
What?
I catch up to him.
What?
We're going down the stairs.
Maybe not now. I'm starving as well.
Yeah, I really want a pastry.
But I wanted to ask you, I want to know.
Can we hurry this up? Can we move?
Yes, we can move. At some point, I want to know more about what you saw in that temple.
What?
When we were sitting in that temple next to each other, I want to know more about what you saw, what you were, what happened to you.
Oh.
But let's eat first.
Yeah.
All right, you guys rush downstairs, and you guys can see that at that long table that you guys had seen the previous night, it is now, it looks like a banquet hall, pretty much. You see about 15 patrons sitting there, all of them dwarvish, and you see them at different ages, different sizes, and all sitting there enjoying breakfast. And as you guys approach, you see that there are a couple of seats that are not occupied at the moment. You guys run up, and there are actually 2 of them that are right next to each other. And as you guys go and sit down, you guys notice that there is a bunch of food laid out in the middle of the table. And people are pretty much just grabbing what they want. There are some like biscuits, there's some eggs that are there, and just scooping onto their own plate. And Flynn, as soon as you sit down, the dwarven man from the previous night walks over in a much nicer apron than what he was in last night, comes over with a nice little a plate, and it's got a perfect lemon pastry sitting on top of it.
Oh. Is this for me?
That's for you.
This looks amazing.
It's pretty good.
Well, I know the best place to get these, so it's gonna have to be pretty good to be better than that.
Well, now you know the best place to get these. And he walks away to the kitchen.
I stare at it. And look at Shry. Do you want some?
Maybe just a tad.
Is there a silverware? I'll cut it in half.
Okay, you cut it in half, and like this lemon filling begins to pour out.
Well, here. Take half.
I grab half. I taste it. Is it good?
It is incredibly sugary. It is this light, flaky, crispy pastry on the outside, and then on the inside, it's got this warm lemon filling.
I'm staring at him like as soon as I hand it to him, I was just intently watching. Is it good?
It's a lot. I may have to follow it up with something.
What does a lot mean?
It's a lot of great goodness.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, no way! And I'll dive in and start chowing down.
Okay. Flynn, as you're eating this thing, it is good. It is really good, but it's just missing that
Yeah.
it's missing that taste of home.
I have a feeling.
It's missing something.
I mean, like, this is all right, but... And I'll whisper, I think the ones in Huddersfield are better.
Yes, well, we all have our preferences for the places we love.
Well, I'm gonna go get some eggs, and I'll
And-
get up and go get eggs.
And immediately as he goes and gets up some eggs, I'm gonna slip my hand under the table, and I'm gonna just feel around for anything raw that someone might have left, like some seeds or just scraps, really.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Yeah. That is gonna be a I don't get anything after that. Okay, that's an 8.
An 8. There are just scattered on the ground underneath your chair, just some sesame seeds that someone probably put over their dinner last night that just fell onto the ground.
Oh, yes. Seeds.
Give them to me. I say this under my breath. And I look up and around, perhaps for any since they're scattered, where a condiment bar is, or places to put toppings on.
You see all of the food here is laid out on the table. At the moment, you don't see any sesame seeds. You do see a little bowl of some nuts at the end of the other end of the table.
I'm gonna, as casually and sneakily as possible, go over there and try to take the entire bowl of that.
Okay, make a sleight of hand check.
All right. Sleight of hand. All right, I got it. Okay. get something good. No!
my
That's a 7.
It's a 7.
It's
as
lucky
you,
though, right?
As you reach out, you see a dwarven man sitting there who has this sort of short and well-kept white beard. He's got little tiny reading glasses on his face, very well dressed. He's got like this full 3-piece suit, and he's got a book in his hands as he's reading it. And as he doesn't even take his eyes up from the book that he's reading, as he goes, "Are you going to take all of that?"
Oh, I just, excuse me, I've forgotten myself. Well,
And I look him dead in the eye, and I say,
I have quite a few dietary restrictions, I think they're called. And, well, if these fine nuts are not in short supply,
and I actually am going to pull out a gold piece.
yes, I would rather like to take the whole thing.
Make a persuasion check.
Why?
Oh, well, no, that's an 8.
An 8.
What is go? Oh, and then
I'm not good at that kind of stuff.
He says, "Well, first of all, I don't need your money. And second of all, you may take a few, but the almonds will remain here."
Then I will give you, fine dwarven gentlemen, the honor of parsing it out for me.
And I thrust the bowl into his hands, and I say,
I trust your judgment.
And he takes the bowl and looking at it, you can see it's almost 3/4 of the way full, and he sort of puts about half of it onto your plate. Puts
Very
the
well.
bowl back.
Very, very well. I appreciate your generosity.
and I give him a kind of little nod and just a look.
All right, he goes straight back to his book.
I'm gonna as I walk away, slowly tap the staff to the spot next to him, and I want to try to have something slowly grow up and under his butt where he's sitting.
like a plant.
Yeah, just like a
thorny,
little,
like a rose.
like a little, not thorny, but just something that might tickle him a little bit.
Slap his butt.
Okay, you can make another sleight of hand check.
All right.
What a morning.
Trying to find a seedy underbelly.
Yeah, literally.
That's a 9.
That's a 9. Let me see. For the most part, no one notices.
Hey.
Yes. And he's just tickled every now and then. Perhaps he doesn't know why. Perhaps he does. If he looks, he will.
He is into his book. He doesn't even care to check.
Yeah.
All right. Oma and Kellic, you guys come down and find Flynn and Shry sitting there at the table, and there are 2 chairs that are vacant on the opposite side of where they're sitting at the table.
Guys, over here, on this side.
Kellic,
Yes, Anna.
I don't know if it's because I was in your body recently, but are they always so crazy? They're just running around everywhere and causing havoc everywhere we go.
I think they're relieved, Alma. It's been a stressful time for us. And people will bottle up all that energy sometimes, and then when you get a chance to let it out, it can be a bit chaotic.
But how do you keep up?
Yeah, as you can plainly see, I don't. I'm trailing behind here pretty steadily. You just try. You just do your darndest. When you show people your best, they'll return it, I found. And chaos notwithstanding.
Okay. I don't understand any of that.
Maybe it's something you just learn in time.
Maybe.
Do you find their actions upsetting?
Well, when they wake you up like that, yeah.
Well, yeah. But, Flynn's proud of himself. He's been really hard on himself lately, and honestly, as much as I don't like to be awoken, it's good to see him not be so angry at himself. Not so dour.
I guess.
Any situation like that, even Shreya defacing the room with those vines, there are good sides and bad sides, there's always a spectrum of ways to look at what's going on. And I find it's good to keep them in balance as much as possible. As much as I struggle with that myself, and I look at my ash-covered trinket in my just still kind of grasped in my hand. How do you say we have some breakfast?
Yeah.
I see some biscuits with my name on it.
They don't say your name. That's silly.
Oh, you look right here. There's a little... And I'm gathering and playing a... See, this one... they spelled it wrong. They only used one L. And this one, they put an R in there for some reason. And this one I think is meant for someone else, but let's just say it has my name on it. Let's just say... I continue doing this routine for as long as Alma will entertain it.
Okay. All right, and then all of you guys at this point come and sit down at the table.
I'm not actually sitting at the table. I'm in the corner, just mowing down on the nuts that I have in my hand. And every now and then, if you look over, you'll just be like, and he's like kind of just satisfied. Just
all right. Everyone else sees Shrai's starting to get some stares. Some people are starting to take note of him standing in the corner. Just some odd looks.
Does anybody look not bothered by this?
Strangely, the dwarven man in the suit reading his book. He is really into that book.
Okay. Does anyone look especially bothered by it?
Make an insight check.
Okay.
And you mentioned the book, and with my more fascination with them, can I maybe glean what it is? Just take a look over while I'm sitting and eating. Can I maybe try and figure out what it is?
Yeah, make a perception check for me.
Okay.
24 on the inside.
24. You do see that there is a woman sitting there with what is presumably her 2 children sitting next to her. And as she's like passing out food to her kids, she keeps giving him this side eye.
Okay. I'll just clock that.
Okay.
I'm just watching for potential threats, and also I'm trying to keep an eye out for the proverbial seedy underbelly.
Okay. Flynn, what was that roll?
8.
An 8.
8, yeah.
Okay. He does actually sort of prop it up against himself at a certain point, and so the cover is showing. You've never seen this book before, but you are able to read the cover. And the cover says, "The Tumultuous Findings of Grumblow Greenward."
Okay. I'll note that, but it doesn't seem like it's like a spell book or anything, like magic stuff.
You can't tell.
I'll finish my breakfast and then make my way over to him.
All right.
Can I help you with something?
Hi. I'm Flynn Fellowleaf.
Good to meet you, Flynn. My name is Jakarlam.
Jakarlam. Huh. Oh, my manners. And then in Dwarvish, I'll begin to speak. I couldn't help it. You were really enraptured by this book. I'm curious what it's about.
And in Dwarvish, he sort of raises his eyebrows to you, and a little bit of a smile on his face. It responds in Dwarven, and he says,
"Oh, yeah, I just picked this book up last week. I'm fascinated."
What's it about?
It's a storybook. It's a bit of a murder mystery.
Oh, I haven't heard many of those. Where'd you get it?
I got it at the bookstore just down the street.
Huh. I'll have to go check it out. Bookstore, you say?
Yes.
Is it just stories there, or do they have other kind of books?
They've got all sorts of books over there, from your novels to your biographies to your spell books.
Oh, spell books. Huh. Thanks. I'll give him a nod and head back to the table, which, or wherever, if you guys have decided to sit down, I'll join you.
The Mighty Bale, by the way. You might want to
I'll turn
know the
around.
name.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll rejoin the party. Where's Shreya?
He's in the corner over there, disturbing commoners.
Oh.
Oh, yes. Gosh, I need more of those.
I'm gonna look around to see if I can find some more nuts. Just out of
Okay, make an
across the room.
investigation check for
Awesome.
me.
I'm still starving. There we go.
Now you're rolling like a
I'm-
pro.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have okay. There we go. Oh, nothing. No, nothing. 15.
15. Okay, you're looking over the table. You're getting desperate. And you see nestled in like a little basket of lettuce, and you couldn't see it before because there's like a lot of lettuce around it, is a little bowl of sesame seeds.
Yes, the sauce.
And I grab it and I just take it and I bring it back to another corner of the room. Perhaps and try to more silently go.
I would like to try to block it, like stop, like at the table. I would like to try to like grab onto Shreya's arm just casually as he's doing this and just whisper, you know, it would be less obvious that you were doing this if you did it at a table.
I don't want to be near any other people right now.
Everybody's watching you.
And I stealthily try to slip under the table.
Okay. As Shreya is getting underneath the table.
As a bird.
As a
bird.
6 foot
As
bird,
a
right?
I'm
I'm
not
gonna
even.
splay my body out so that it's
There's
like
no stealth check for this. You are a giant bird
Oh,
climbing
damn it.
under a table.
Bump the table.
What are the rest of you guys doing?
I just follow him back to the table and sit at it and just shake my
I
head.
literally just carry on. I don't even look at him. I just carry on eating my biscuits.
What is everyone in this area doing now? I'll look around as I see he's making a scene, so I look around to see what the patrons of the bar do.
Everyone is like, you can see a couple people have like sort of scooted themselves out from the table a
Okay.
little bit. The mother of the two children is at this point, she's not like trying to hide her stare. She is full on staring.
This is a really
I will-
fancy tavern.
This
I
is a really
can't-
fancy place, and Jakarlam is still reading his book.
I will just raise my hand as he makes this ruckus in Dwarvish. My deepest apologies. He's just very, very hungry, and he kind of gets beside himself. Apologies. I'll just say that in Dwarvish as he's chowing down.
Okay. Doesn't seem to change the mood of
I tried.
the people
I
in the
behave
tribe.
as though I am not with them.
Okay.
if you will.
Guys, maybe we can just get some of these seeds and nuts to go. Maybe.
Seeds and nuts are all ready to go, Flynn. They're all around.
as he
Yeah, why don't we just get out of here then?
as he says that, the bowl just slides out from underneath the table across the room.
Okay.
It looks like he's
You guys
done.
are done with breakfast.
But wait! We'll say when we're done with that.
No, you guys are done.
I have wrapped up like a little sandwich to go. Like
Okay.
I've like spent this whole time just like making myself a little like egg, bread, whatever, and like put it in a napkin to take with me.
Okay.
Awesome.
So, as you guys are getting up from the table, I'm going to interrupt you. As you guys are getting up from the table, what's the game plan as you guys are leaving breakfast?
Guys, I know we got stuff. I mean, I guess we can come back, but we may not be back.
I'd like to go to the temple of Zachariah.
Yeah.
I think I have unfinished business there. And I might be able to use the people there as a resource for information. That's my only thought. If anybody has a better idea, I'm happy to hear it.
No.
I'm thinking about walking around those statues of like the
royalty.
the royalty, and maybe just like looking and seeing if I can see any sneaky ways inside the walls. Walls?
Yes.
Walls.
Yes.
Were those statues near where the prison was? Do we know where the prison is actually?
You guys actually at this point don't even know where the prison is.
Oh, but we do know that there's walls separating like an inner city, right?
Yes. So there is. So what you guys have discovered in Oakenspire is you guys know where the park is. You guys know where Hayfried's teleportation circle is, and you guys know that in the middle of this giant city, there's an entire portion of it that is just miles and miles across. That is completely walled off. That it has those statues around it.
Yeah, we could look for an entrance, or at least we could ask someone how to get
I
into
was
the
just
inner
thinking
city.
about just walking around and seeing what I can see and doing some research.
Yes, perhaps there notices about the comings and goings of the things that happen here.
Or like we could see guard towers.
Does
or
this
like
tavern have a bookshelf?
It has quite a few. Yeah, over by that fireplace.
Okay, if a cursory inspection, because we're done with breakfast, is there like a history of Oakenspire or like some kind of like
Make an investigation check for me.
investigation? 15.
15. As you're looking through, you're seeing a couple of fiction books, a couple of things. There's one about like the founder of this inn and sort of like the history of the inn. And you actually go through and you see one that's called Oakenspire, a history.
I will pluck that from the shelf and I will try to see if there's in the table of contents, mayhaps, something about this like inner city.
For sure. Yeah, you do see a couple of chapters dedicated to the inner part of the city.
Okay. Can I, with the, I don't know. Is there a what's the first paragraph? Tell me of one of these chapters.
I'll just tell you as you flip through this is there's quite a few pictures, inscriptions. None of the actual text is like these huge long pieces of text. It's actually quite brief in what it tells you and pretty concise. So as you're looking through, one of the first things is sort of the overview of the city. You see that this city, while it is massive, is divided up into 5 sections. There's the Northern District, Southern District, Eastern District, and Western District. There's also that center part of the city, which is the Royal District. You see that the Royal District is just as large, maybe a little bit smaller than the rest of the districts around it, just in size and amount of buildings and everything. But each district, you see, could pretty much operate as its own city. It has its own infrastructure. It has its own little sub-districts within it, and everything. And you see, reading through, Oakenspire wasn't always this big. It was always the capital of Caldor, but it wasn't always this big. And it actually started sort of as its own almost mini country. And it had its own economy and everything. And what really made it boom was the mines that were here. The mines that go deep beneath the earth. But then once Caldor, or once Oakenspire began accruing its wealth, they were able to reach out and expand their influence to around the rest of Caldor and sort of get a good hold over the rest of the country. And they moved their mining operations out of the capital and just made this one central place to have sort of the bureaucracy and the high class of society. So that's sort of the main gist that you get is there are a bunch of these different districts, and mainly the Eastern District used to be the main mining facility before now it is converted into just another district of the city.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did Oakenspire join Caldor, or did Caldor grow out of Oakenspire?
Caldor, they were sort of created simultaneously, and Oakenspire was designated as the capital. But in those early days, it was very much like it's difficult to reach and have influence over the entire country. So even though it was a singular country, a lot of it was sort of governing itself until Oakenspire was able to actually get its reach to a substantial point.
Okay. Anything in there about a prison?
I was about to say. So, prison?
So,
I'm gonna have you make an intelligence check for me. That was just sort of the first chapter, the general overview, the history, and then after that, a brief history. And then they sort of get into the more details.
That's a 5.
It's a 5. You don't get an exact location, but you do know that you catch a little glimpse of a lot of these mines, these things that used to be the mines, have been converted into military projects, prisons. A lot of those old structures, once the mining was moved out of Oakenspire, those were converted into, military installments, prisons, and different things that mostly the royal family uses.
Are we just sitting around while he's looking at, like, are we there? Are we?
Yeah, this takes a couple minutes.
Okay, so we're just hanging out at the table, finishing our...
Exactly, yeah.
You finding anything?
As I return from the fireplace, having reshelved the book. Well, it seems that the, from what little I consumed, the prison might be in the Eastern District, where there were once mines, which means if we're looking underground prison, that's going to be an even harder caper than the last we pulled.
Do you think that that's the only book over there that had any information?
I took a pretty good look at it. I think so, yeah.
I mean, if it helps, I was talking to, and I'll point out the dwarf that has the book. I was talking to him, and he said that there's a bookstore down the street. Maybe they have plans or blueprints or something. Maybe we can check that out. And then
couldn't hurt.
Shreya and Alma can go scope the place out.
We could really use an inn, not an inn, but an inn to the prison.
Yeah, it might be over there. They can look at the place, and we can check out the store, the bookstore.
Lead on, Flynn.
Does that seem good to you guys?
What was that?
Huh? What?
Well, we're gonna see if we can get more information at a bookstore, library, I guess. And you wanted to sneak around, and maybe you can go with?
Yes, I could come as well, but although I'll be completely honest with all of you, I really want us to be successful in our endeavor here, and I will scale back my own, ways of throwing little bits and pieces of pranks and jokes into the fold. We may not be here for long if I continue that, and I realize that.
It isn't the best environment for pranks.
Yes, I can see that.
As I look around, can I tell what's been caused in the room, or like just gauge people's feeling?
There's some stairs coming your way.
Okay. Feeling this and feeling awkward about it, I'm just gonna just take a step outside. I'm gonna go outside. And outside, I'm gonna look around for seeing that in other Kaldurian cities have been very clear about rules and regulations. I'm just gonna look around if there are any like postings or notices or like general guidelines posted anywhere about just the city and the way of being in it.
Okay. Before you do that, as you walk out of this this little tavern inn, you actually open the door and bump face first into a figure that's standing there. Jemery, would you please describe your character? As he walks out and just totally bumps into you, please describe your character.
A muscular copper dragonborn with scarlet eyes stands 6.5 feet tall. A strong brow traces back to small horns, and a crest of scales falls to above her shoulders. Brown fur lines the knuckles of her clawed hands and her feet. She dons brown short pants and a loose olive green shirt adorned with several strands of leather across and around her torso. One of several necklaces bears teeth and bones. She carries a large backpack with an odd mix of tools and weapons. A mace hangs from a large multi-pocketed belt, and her right hand bears a maul. At closer look, you can see a long gash along the back of her right forearm, and the dented and chipped scales of her left cheek lend to the crooked smile that greets you. Hello.
Pardon me, I was just around getting some air.
And as I look deeper into the face of this being, and I take a step back and give a closer look.
And what are you? Being of the earth, of the depths of the...
and I just like searching for words because I sometimes take pride in being able to identify beings and I just look quizzically and just lost for words.
Well, I am what is called a dragonborn, Faraday Peaceblade, and you are...
My name is Shreya. Dragonborn. Dragons. Born of dragons.
And you just see me sort of physically, like, wince a little bit at the suggestion.
Oh, just pardon me. I find myself very adept at moving around the world, but not always so great at discovering its inhabitants. So please forgive me if I've caused any offense.
I take another step back.
But I will assure you, I am very welcoming to the different beings of the earth. I believe all beings have a place here.
And I try to attempt an odd kind of bow.
That's quite all right. It's sort of a thing that happens with not very many creatures are used to seeing creatures of my type, so I thank you for your consideration.
Well, what brings you to a place like this where...
I just look around.
I mean, I'm sure you can see this. There are many people, beings, sorts that look as strange as...
And I crack a little smile. I look down at myself and over.
You and I.
Yes, well, I am actually here. I'm looking actually for some people. I was sent by a friend.
Do I see the others or just Shreya?
You just see Shreya. at this point, yeah.
You're in the
Just
doorway.
right.
Like in the doorway.
Yeah.
So I'm actually looking for some, I shall say, companions of a friend of mine, some acquaintances.
Oh, well, I suppose people come to Oakenspire for all different things. We are looking for a rather... Oh, I've quite forgotten myself.
And I take another step back. And I'm going to look around to see where the rest of my crew is.
Right
Okay.
behind you.
Right behind
Shreya,
you.
what are you doing? Move
You're
out
in
of the
the way.
doorway.
I'm sorry, I just...
Shreya, are we gonna get on with the day or not?
Yes,
God,
yes,
you're
of course.
blocking like the
Who are
whole
you talking
way.
to?
Your wingspan covers the door and then
so
some.
large.
Right, I like I said, I've quite forgotten myself. If you don't... and I look back. What was your name again?
My name is Faraday.
Faraday, yes. If you don't mind, we are headed down to go about our business for the day. This is, and I look back, right this way, band of fellows, and actually, and I sort of chuckle to myself. This one's actually called Fellow in his name. And I wince over at Flynn. Never mind. And
Hi, my name's Flynn Felloweve.
Greetings.
Faraday?
Faraday, yes.
Hi.
Hi.
You're tall too. What are you doing here?
I am actually in Oakenspire. I've been here for a while, but I've been sort of sent to look for some friends of a friend of mine, actually.
Does this figure look like they're wearing a dress of the guard or a dress of anyone in this area? That
Red wolf clothes.
Red wolf clothes.
No.
Oakenspire wardrobe.
Oakenspire attire.
Attire. Yeah.
Oakenspire attire. No, distinctly not that.
Okay.
Actually, you said you've been in Oakenspire for a while?
Yes.
I mean, if one were trying to find trouble, but not get in trouble, but find it, where would they go?
I would recommend not seeking trouble. I don't know how long you've been in Oakenspire, but it is not a place that you engage in trouble, per se.
We sort of make a habit of trouble. So if you were to.
You know, if you just wanted to know where to avoid, you know?
And I just, like, lean down. I, bend down a little bit.
yeah, you're
down
7 feet
towards Oma's ear and say,
Does the name Agents of Repair mean anything to you?
Hey! Yes! Oh, yes. I've heard that name before.
Yeah, that's us. What? Oh, I mean, that's us that have heard of that. Now I looked at Kellic and like, that's us that heard about that name before.
I just shake my head. King of keeping secrets, this one.
I'm trying, okay?
We have gone by that title rather recently. Where'd you come upon hearing it?
From a friend of mine. I'm a bit concerned. Let's move down here for a little bit more privacy. There's a little bit too much traffic here, if you don't mind.
And I sort of lead them around the corner towards like an alleyway,
I'm
just so.
cautiously following.
Wait, where are you going?
And as I see her leading them on, and I look over,
Is being put them under a spell of some sort.
and I wander up behind, and I look around.
Where are we going? Are you being led by this? Hello again. Hi.
Hello.
I can see your new leaf of not being disruptive, Shreya. It's really going great for you.
I'm sometimes a fast learner, sometimes a slow learner.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Steady on.
Where
Try and I.
I put a clawed hand just on his shoulder to just try to calm him down.
Oh,
We're just going around the corner.
oh right. That actually feels kind of nice.
All right, the rest of you guys are following?
Sure, yeah.
Tentative way.
Okay, all right.
Excitedly.
And you guys
Cautiously.
make your way around the corner, and you guys are in a pretty secluded alleyway in between two buildings at this point.
You said a friend sent you to
Out with it
find
then.
us?
Yes, I got a message from a friend. You may have heard, but just for my edification to verify that you are in fact the people that I'm searching for. He is a resident of Marstock.
You're going to have to be more specific.
Have
We
we?
have an acquaintance with a one-armed horse keeper in Marstock. We've got, well, maybe just that one. Well, there's a gnome that turned into a glob of...
We know a lot of people.
We know, we're very...
I know a woman who owns a farm and she
Gregarious.
loves me.
Does
She invited me to dinner anytime. So is that your friend?
With the sheep farm.
Uh-huh.
Not the friend I'm speaking of, but I do frequent Marstock. I was just there about a month or so ago, and I have a friend there who works in a temple.
There's only one temple in Marstock.
Is it that temple?
There's the only one, Flynn.
Is there any-
Okay. Oh my God, this is so annoying. Do you know Hayfried?
Are you the one in charge, little one?
Yes.
And I just give her a little wink.
Yes, so I have received a message from Hayfried that I should seek out the agents of repair because you are sort of on a mission and may need some assistance.
That's so cool that he sent somebody along to help us.
Full of favors.
I
Hayfried
know.
is.
How cool. We could use help. We are trying to do something crazy, and Hayfried gave us some tools, but this place is kind of tough. So we do need a little bit of help.
Wait. How do you know Hatefree again?
We've known each other for a few years. It's a very long story, but basically we have an understanding based on our past.
Are you married?
This wouldn't be the checkered past of Hayfried's, would it?
I put my staff on Kalik's shoulder.
Kellic, the friend of Hayfried's, probably very powerful indeed. Perhaps we should welcome any kind of power.
I don't welcome the powers of evil, Shreya.
Well-
So I'd like to confirm exactly what the nature of this person's relationship with Hayfried was.
We are in a very treacherous place. I might welcome any kind of power right now.
As I take a step back.
Speaking of this place, what's your allegiance with Caldor?
And you just see me sort of uncomfortably shift and stand up straighter and sigh and say, very hesitantly take a deep breath and say,
I served with the army of Kaldor,
and I flash my military credentials and say,
but when it comes to allegiance, I am aligned with the side of peace.
I look around at the group.
Good answer.
Or one could say, repair.
I shake my head.
I like lean over to Kel. Why is everyone acting so weird?
I nudge Kellic and I say, usually the other short one has more jokes.
But I still feel dissatisfied. Hayfried, how do you know him?
It is a quite long story, but basically,
Hayfried made his living as a torturer.
and you have met Hayfried and you know that he has changed. I met him quite a ways back. I had heard in my travels as a mercenary that there was an evil mage, and I was sent to find him. And when I did, Hayfried and I had a very long talk, and we understand that sometimes, especially in times of war, the darkness will pull you, or you will do things that you absolutely regret, and you try to live the rest of your life making up for it. Hayfried is a friend of mine, and I trust him, and therefore I feel I can trust you.
And this is you making up for it?
In some ways, yes.
Well, we're trying to break into a prison.
I nudged Kellic. I thought we were trying to keep secrets.
I just... my head has barely stopped shaking this entire conversation.
Okay, well, obviously she's here to help us, and Hayfried sent her. So, I mean, when I was in your body, I could talk to Hayfried. Why don't you just ask him?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't prepare that spell today.
Well, why not? It seems like a really convenient spell.
I don't like to just willy-nilly talk to people.
Why not?
Have you met him?
I shrug.
But it seems like a really convenient thing to do that you just avoid doing.
Sure. There's lots of things that people might consider convenient that I avoid. And trusting folks is also one of them. So, I appreciate you being here. Did Hayfried give you anything to go on? Or did he just send you our way?
Essentially sent me to find you. I know that you are up to a mission, and that is about it. But you're trying to break into a prison, is that what you said?
I mean,
Effectively.
break in, break out. A lot of movement.
Alma has I just kind of like open palm my hands towards everybody. Just
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have to do that if you had a way of talking to Hayfried and
Alma,
confirming.
if you had any spells at all at your disposal that didn't just blow buildings up, then we'd have a lot of solutions to our problems.
Wait a
I
minute.
can do lots of things, and I push my hands down so hard, and I stomp my feet, and I disappear.
Oh, what?
Oh no, guys.
Alma? Where did you go?
I'm not gonna fall for this one, Alma. I'm not bothered at all. You can disappear all you like, child.
and,
Where did she go?
and I'm leaning back against the wall with my arms crossed, just watching this, really just amused.
What's going on?
I lean in and I say,
All right, fine. If you're really acquainted with Hayfried, what does his inner sanctum look like, huh? Has he ever given you any information? Has he ever showed you the depths of what he can do?
and I look back at the rest of the party.
This shouldn't be too hard, right?
And I look at Shreya.
Perhaps we don't know the same Hayfried, because Hayfried has given up using essentially all magic. He lives in a temple. He lives a very quiet life, and that is the life that he has chosen so that he can seek his reprieve from his past.
We might. But then again,
And I look at myself, I look at the party, the rest of the party, I look at myself, I look at the rest of the party. And I give like a little nod.
something tells me we do. We might actually know the same Hayfrid.
Yeah.
After about a minute, I come back. Except, I was watching all of this, and now I'm behind Kellic, and I just like poke him on the side real hard.
If I can,
Yeah.
ignore it.
I'm feeling the wall in the area where Alma was, and I'm like, do I notice her show up behind Kellic?
Yeah, you would notice her pop back in. Yeah.
Teach me.
Oh, I need to. I need to
Oh,
roll.
yeah, was that
I
a
need
spell?
to roll wild magic.
Okay.
Oh no, this might. No!
What was it?
A 3.
A 3.
So as you show back up,
A
like,
3 does not beat a 5. Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh boy,
She's
what
right
a.
behind me.
I know this whole you don't
We're
blow
not, I'd
buildings
say we're
when
not
you
usually
cast
like this,
spells.
but
So much for keeping a low profile.
Okay.
You're
So
never-
I don't
I
expect anything's gonna happen, so I'm still just there against
Yeah.
the wall,
Yeah.
taking the solid.
Okay, let me see what happens here.
Oh
Let's
jeez.
see.
What a morning.
Um
At least we got breakfast.
Never a dull moment.
okay. Okay.
Don't laugh like
All
that.
right.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Please, please.
Faraday, I'm gonna have you make a charisma check right now.
17.
17. So I am qualifying you as an ally within this spell. So everyone
Oh,
here,
no.
everyone has a -2 penalty on attack and damage rolls.
What
Oh,
happened?
for the next minute. Okay, you guys are fine.
So what happens?
Yeah.
You guys feel like as Oma pops back into existence, like this wave of sort of like concussive energy slowly expands out around her. Yeah,
Me too? Or just around me?
just around you. And it slowly makes its way and envelops all of you. And for the next minute, all of you guys just feel a little bit like off balance, like the stability within your head is just sort of thrown off a little
Does it
bit.
Do
kind
I also feel this?
You do not.
Does it feel how it was like the last few days for me? Kind of like, but like.
It's
Yeah.
similar. Yeah.
Maybe don't teach me.
See, I didn't blow up anything.
Is it possible to tell where it emanated from, or are we just like a little bit out of it?
Make a perception check for me. Actually, I'm just gonna use your
Natural 20.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, as you saw Olma as soon as she popped back in, right behind Kalik, and you see this like wave of like energy coming out from her.
My emotion, my staff over there.
This one sometimes, maybe, there are unexpected outbursts, and if you can deal with that, then, well, maybe you can help us.
If Hayfried sent you to us, then he knew what we were on about. Then did he give you any of that information?
He just said that my skills would be of use to you here.
What are your skills?
Indeed.
As I said, I was part of the army of Kaldor, so I'm assuming that as I used to work in the prison system, and you seem to be wanting to break into a prison, that is exactly why he contacted me.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah,
would
that
make
would make a
sense.
lot
Yeah, you should have led
Now
with that.
I had to ensure that you are the right people. I don't know if you realize this, but we are in Oakenspire. They take things very seriously here, and as someone who used to belong to the army of Kaldor, if I get in any trouble with Caldor, I will be labeled a traitor.
Well, spend enough time with us breaking into prisons, I think you're gonna get labeled as a traitor either way.
This is why I rely on my skills, and that is why I'm checking to make sure that you are who you say you are. But again, as I said, you're a friend of Hayfried, and he has sent me to assist you, and depending on your plans and what exactly you are trying to do in this prison, I may or may not assist you with this, because again, I do desire to not be labeled as a traitor. I would like to go on living outside of my time here in Oakenspire.
You said prisons. How many prisons are there scattered across this nation of Caldor? Is it all the prisons that you're familiar with, or do you know / have clearance with the my head is still spinning. With the prison in this city?
I worked 2 years in the prison here in Oakenspire, the main prison.
Was that before or after you met Hayfried?
Before.
Okay, so then you met Hayfried, and then you decided that you didn't want to be part of Caldurian military anymore, or you still are part of it? I'm really confused. You say you don't want to be a traitor, but you also want to be on part of peace.
And you're willing to...
You may or may not break into a prison for us, depending on what our plan is. And I just need to know, like, if you don't like our plan, are you gonna tell your friends in the military? Or, like, I just don't really know what side you're on. What do you consider peace? Like, do you consider this peace?
We are in a war, child.
No, I know that. But, like, there's not a war here, and at night everybody has to, like, hide. So would you consider this peace?
One thing that I respect about Oakenspire is that there is an understanding of rules and law and good behavior, and there are good people and bad people on both sides. But
Timmy was just a kid, and he got taken to prison just because he lost his papers, and that seems a bit extreme. Like, they might cut off his hand, and all because he didn't have any papers. And our friend we were trying to find her, and she was just working in a temple, like, sweeping, and they took her, and then, like, Xavier, they took him, and all we were doing was studying. So, like, it doesn't really seem to me like there are good people and bad people on both sides.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Have some respect for the city that we're in, even though it's populated with beings like dwarves. We can also, perhaps, bow to those who may be from other types of backgrounds.
As I say that, I look over and I'm just fascinated. I'm just fascinated by like just how this Dragonborn is just almost like I'm looking at like an alien almost, and just like mystified.
Faraday, say we were planning on getting 3 people, one of very high interest, out of the prison here in Oakenspire. Say we were to do that, we were planning on doing that, and that we did not plan on harming anyone past the necessary amount. Where does that sit with you?
Well, I did serve in the army of Caldor, and
I approached Calixo. We're like face to face.
While I did serve in the army of Caldor, I have no allegiance to ongoing battles and fights. My desire is for peace, and unfortunately, in war, not everybody understands the value of life. But it seems like you do.
How are you achieving peace right now? What are you doing?
Right now, peace is my ideal, but I understand I am but one being, and I can only do so much.
And I kneel down towards Oma.
Young one, you've lived your entire life with all around you. You probably only know violence and anger and choosing sides. When you look at some of these soldiers, they only know one way. And especially when you're in the military, you're almost groomed to think one way. You're groomed to think that the other side are bad and you should stop at nothing to win. I am not that. I lived too long as a soldier fighting before I realized that I had lost my way, and that is why I left the military. I'm finding my own way, traveling and trying to learn. I am trying to understand how we can bring everybody to the table, because I believe that is the way that we find peace. So I've spent my last few years traveling. I understand your concerns with what side and what allegiance I may have, but I assure you I have no allegiance to the Kaldor army, but I also would rather not place myself in risk of being a traitor. If you do not have a plan that I feel will be successful, then I will have to step away and wish you the best of luck. But know that I understand that even in a place like this, even in war, there are good people, and they may be lost. But we do have to respect life regardless.
I'll reach over and I'll grab her hand. And I'll just hold it. And I'll say, "You sound really scared. And like you don't know what you want to do to get peace. And I'm scared too. And I don't know what I'm gonna do to get a repair. But we're all just working towards it and taking the next best step forward."
If I had to hazard a guess, I'd say Hayfried sent you to us because our name is the agents of repair, but it's also our purpose. We, in our messy, poorly thought out way, are trying to put back together the rift between this country and between this land. I don't know that we can keep your citizenship here safe, but I can guarantee you that our aim is just.
My friend, he was trying to help me. He was trying to help me find where I come from and why I can't control anything. And he was trying to help me figure that out. And he thought he was on the right path. But then they took him, so I don't know what he found out or why they took him. And considering you can just get picked up for anything, like not having the right papers, it could have been anything.
I will say this. I only laid eyes upon him once. But when I looked into his eyes, it seemed like he'd seen generations of things he'd rather not have seen.
And I look over to the rest of the party.
Perhaps that's what the Kaldurians might be afraid of, and why they are keeping him under such tight lock and key. Perhaps they are afraid of him.
We don't want to hurt anybody. And I can't guarantee that getting these 3 people out of prison is gonna bring peace. But it's the next right thing to do And hopefully, eventually, that leads us to the right place.
Just as Hayfried's stones in his chamber form, we're just putting one foot in front of the other. And this is the next step toward Ulma achieving a personal peace, if you will.
Do you still have any association with the Kaldorian military? Are there ways that you could make contact with them? I think a plan might be hatching in my own brain, based on my experience with the previous prison complex that I investigated. Perhaps you could be attempting to imprison us. Perhaps you could be returning to the military and taking us in a sort of deceptive way into the prison as prisoners. What do you all think about that?
That gets us in, but how do we get out then?
I hadn't quite figured that part out yet.
We improvise.
I don't like the way we improvise.
Hey, we've been all right so far.
I'm sorry. So you had no plan about how to...
Well, we were
break
in the
your
midst
friend.
of forming it.
Yeah, we were about to
We
make
just
it.
got here, and I don't know if you know this, but like I was not in my body for so long, and we had to figure that out first. Okay, there was an island, and it was crazy.
I'm
and it
sorry, you were not in your own body.
I thought I took pretty good care of you.
As you said, it was a long story.
Yeah, speak for yourself, and I rub my knees sorely.
As you said, it was a long story. We also have quite a few long stories. Maybe best to leave that one unsaid for now.
Yeah, point is, we just haven't had time to really focus on it, which is what we were gonna do right now, and we were gonna make a plan. We weren't just gonna like run in. I was gonna go and like scope out the wall and like learn a bit more about the area, and I think they were gonna go to like the library or something with books and figure some stuff out, and like we were just gonna come back together tonight and come up with something, you know? But you just happened to fall into our laps because of Hayfried, which, you know, all thanks to Hayfried. Thanks, Hayfried.
And I just kind of like shake my head and say to myself,
What has this old man gotten me into?
I mean, he sent you to us to help us because you know the prisons. Clearly, he knew that you knew and what you knew could help us. You know,
My head
I
hurts.
think that's right. Anyway, I
followed
think he
that
sent you to
perfectly.
us to help us.
Tell me a bit more about your friend, please.
My friend?
Yes.
Well, he's kind of like Hayfried if Hayfried didn't have a checkered past. Like, he can do a lot of things. I don't really know his past, so I mean, I guess he could have a checkered past, but like, I don't think he does. But he helped me. I wasn't raised with him, but like once I got into town, he found me, and he knows how to do magic, and I know how to do magic, but it's kind of different. Like, I don't know how to do it the way he does it, and he can't do it the way I do it, but he was helping me figure that out, and we traveled for like a little bit, and then he was taken, and that's kind of all I know.
So we're talking about... Oh.
and I just sort of take a moment and start pace back and forth.
So your friend is a highly powerful magic user. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, so he's got these, apparently, according to Shreya, he's got these like metal things on his arms that don't let him do any magic. But Hayfried gave us a little piece of string right here. And I pull out the little piece of string, and we're supposed to wrap it around his arms, and it's supposed to undo the magic.
And I hold up my
and then he
hand.
can help us get him out.
Your plan is to somehow go into one of the most protected prisons to get a magical prisoner who is going to be very well guarded, very difficult to access, and use something from Hayfried and then somehow escape.
Well, Shreya saw him in prison before, and he wasn't that guarded, so I mean, it shouldn't be that hard here.
we're still forming the plan as well. I think we already mentioned, like,
Yeah, and he was not
in
guarded
the
before.
process of it.
I think they think that the magical cuff things are like all he really needs because he wasn't really around a lot of people before, except when I saw him. When I saw him, they were transporting him, and then he had like lots of guards. But it's different. It's totally different.
He doesn't even seem to remain in one place for very long. There is a chance that we go into that prison and he's been moved again.
I'll turn to Faraday. Listen, I know this sounds like a lot, because it is.
And I just sort of smile again.
I guess I'm looking up. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna try. And if you want to help us, you can come along. This is apparently how you're finding peace, so it's up to you.
Also, if you don't want to come with us, you don't have to. But we could use your help coming up with a plan because at least you know the prison. So, like, if you could just like help us build a map, even that would be great. Anything you could give us would be helpful. Just your knowledge, you know. So maybe he didn't send you to us to like get us in and get us out, and then you won't have to be a traitor. You can just like give us information and help us build a plan with your military strategy because you're so wise and big and strong.
She's pretty big, yeah.
And pretty.
And interesting.
Why doesn't she ever talk to me like that?
You're pretty too, Kellic.
Thank you, Fun.
Yeah.
I just look at Alma with this smile of like, oh, child.
While this does sound intriguing, I will have to bring up that my services do not come for free.
Okay, well, what do you need? I mean, Hayford sent you to us, so what do you want?
Well, and I do want you to consider also that not only are you getting my expertise, but if I come with you, again, I am risking my own potential future, depending on how this goes.
Okay, what is the price for a plan, and what is the price for your help?
How's a magical sword sound to you?
Yeah.
And I just sort of indicate the giant maul that's in my hand.
Oh.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool looking.
And just nod at it.
Yes.
Okay, that still doesn't answer my question. What's your price?
We're well aware of the risk you'd be taking to aid us, but we're not brimming with time here. So what is it? Will you help us or not? And what's your price? That's it.
And I turn to Kalek because I'm assessing that he's the leader. Because he has taken charge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it by this point.
Take a hint, Flint.
Yeah.
He's with the most like military-esque like voice in his tone, or tone in his voice. And I go to Kalek.
125 gold.
So you'd betray your country for a bit of gold?
Did I say this was my country?
Well, you're quite concerned with being a traitor. That's all. Makes a man
Do
wonder.
you know what they do to traitors here?
We saw.
We did. Alright. Do we have that? You lot?
Yeah.
Yes.
120
But
gold.
what's the cost for just coming up with a plan?
I could discuss some things with
What's
you,
the
but the
cost?
thing is,
What's the cost for like advisory support?
advisory
Is
support.
there an hourly rate? You know.
If you just want to bounce off your ideas off me, then I would say 25 gold and a nice meal.
If we start with that, do we get like a down payment,
you
or like can it be
deduct it from the
deducted
flat
from the
fee?
fat? Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
So like if
yeah.
we buy you dinner and get your planning rate of 25 gold for some insight, and then we decide like, hey, we actually get along, and like you think I'm pretty too, and you want to help me, then. Is that then deducted, and then we just owe you 100 gold? Or now is that like now we need both? Do you know what I'm saying?
I sweep my wings out and I like
take a step in. Well, if you want to take it from someone who is actually quite versed with military negotiation and getting the best price possible,
gosh.
I can tell you that it never usually takes this much time. And perhaps we should find a more scenic place to discuss these things and lay them out.
Well, it's just a yes or no question.
Depends on how good the dinner is.
Well, you're the local. Where do you recommend?
Do I know a nice place?
Let me see.
It's still breakfast. We've got time.
A nice lunch, a nice place.
Yeah, you would be able to get a nice little lunch at
You know, a little sandwich soup kind of deal, a little combo.
Little half and half.
A little half and half.
at the Broken Lantern. It's like a nice little. They're mostly dinners, but like they do a nice lunch.
A nice bistro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how far is that from where we are?
That is going to be about like a 15 to 20 minute walk.
Yeah,
Pretty close.
which section of town are we in right now?
So you guys are currently you guys coming out of the park and everything, and this inn that you guys are staying at. You guys are currently in the southern district, but you guys are pretty close to the middle where the royal district is. Like you guys are almost coming up against that. So if you wanted to go to the eastern or the western district, it's not really that far away. You guys are sort of in the middle of the city, pretty much.
I'll look to the group. I don't know about you guys, but I just ate a lot of food. And it's still in the morning. Should we go, check some stuff out? Maybe do we have to pay you to walk with us? This is getting weird, but we could just go walk by the area that you were talking about, Alma.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of need some insight. So
I don't
Right.
think the prison is near the statues, though.
Well,
the
maybe she
prison's
can
in the
just
Eastern District.
prove to us that she has information that we can trust, and we can go walk by the royal area. She can tell us a few things, and then we can make our decision if we want to pay her.
Yes,
Okay.
take us around the city a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a very new area for us.
please.
I do have a lot of business in town. I will give you an hour of my time this morning, and you can decide in that time.
All right, fair enough. Just don't go out on us to your military friends.
As friends of Hayfried, I would not betray you as that.
So we've got an hour of your time. I guess we should just use that with you giving us some insight into the prison, right? So maybe we should just go somewhere quiet or.
Why don't we go back to that nice serene park?
I think it would be best if we head toward where we're supposed to be heading in the long run. Actually get a lay of the land with someone who's...
Yeah, can you show us kind of where the prison sites are, and just walk in a safe distance around them, so you can kind of show us where we would be going?
How long would it take to get to, where the,
Getting to the prison, you know these streets pretty well, so I would say it would probably take you about a half an hour of walking at a pretty good pace.
I'm gonna clock everywhere she takes me, just building a map in my
Okay,
head.
gotcha. Okay, are you guys heading over in that direction?
yes.
Yes? Okay. Awesome. So you guys are walking through the city. Alma, you're taking notes of exactly where everything is. You're getting a pretty good map in your head of the city and where you're going and everything. And after about 30 minutes of walking, you guys can see a building on the sort of horizon as this city, some of the buildings make way and it opens up into this massive stone structure. You can see the way that you guys are facing, you see one giant wall that's just flat. You can't even see where it turns. If it even turns, you guys can't see any of the other edges. You can just see one flat face. And you see 3 of these giant towers within the wall itself. And you can see very well fortified. This thing is probably, I'd say, about 100 feet tall. You don't see any stairs going up. You barely even see any loose stones that are protruding out from the wall. Just this massive wall. So as you guys are approaching, you see it. Are you guys going to try and walk around it?
I'm going to defer to Faraday.
Okay. Faraday, where are you leading them? Are you leading... You know approaching it, you know if you go right, you would be sort of taking them on a tour of the entire wall. And if you go left, you're heading towards this side of it that has the main entrance. Where are you going to be taking them?
So first I'm going to stop, say,
Well, this is what you are trying to breach.
Right. We have no delusions about that.
And you said you had your own experience breaking in and out of a prison before.
Mm-hmm. It's Solaris?
Yeah, we used the sewer system there to penetrate.
You will not find that will assist you here. That knowledge of the setup of this prison is going to be quite different than maybe what you've experienced in Solaris.
So there's no underground anywhere here?
I don't know how much you know about the history of Oakenspire, but this used to be the old mining district. So basically they converted mines into prisons. You cannot... they sort of built in when they created the prison, they made everything internal because they wanted to ensure the security of it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So, are the prisoners in the tunnels?
And I sort of chuckle. So, depending on the severity of the crimes, they may be located in different parts of the prison as well as in different levels of the prison.
Okay, so Timmy just didn't have his papers, so that's probably not that bad. He's got to be right in the front.
Right?
We don't really know what Zeta did, so I don't...
Unclear. Is there... Well, my question is twofold. Is there a logbook somewhere where we could find the location of each of the prisoners that we're looking to break free? And do you have any proposal as to how we would get through the front gate here? Maybe Shreya's idea.
There are records, obviously, that they keep of the prisoners. But we would, or you, really, would have to find a way to access those records and then find your way, navigate the prison to find your friend.
We'd start there with the records and then move on. That makes sense to me. Why go forward if we don't know where to?
And we are slightly adept at creating our own,
I say this really under my breath,
Kaldurian records. So perhaps we could make some ourselves.
Slightly adept is an apt choice of words, I would say.
Yes, indeed. And one other question. Do the Kaldurians use any tools, animals, other beasts to try to maintain order in the prison, or is it just beings that look like?
And then I motion to the rest of the party.
There are many different guards, depending on the floor that you are trying to go to. There are obviously going to be guards patrolling all around and on the different floors. I cannot speak to exactly who would be on which floor and who may be guarding which cell.
Are there ever any, dignitaries that visit? Or, people from other... because it would be better if not all of us were prisoners, right? If only one of us were prisoners. So, maybe there's a guard exchange or a prisoner exchange. And, everybody was guards except for one person? Does that ever happen?
There are, again, depending on the level that your friend may be on, there are constant watches on essentially every level.
Yeah.
You would know, just at the mention of dignitaries and stuff like that. There are a couple of different times that people can come in that aren't necessarily guards. You do know that there are several like inspection teams just to make sure that everything is all up to the code that they have. Make sure that magical prisoners aren't going to be escaping, making sure all the equipment is set up correctly. And then there's also like staff inspectors, making sure that, you know, all the guards are doing their job correctly and all of that. And then you would also know that they contract outside cleaning crews to come in, and if something happens, they gotta clean up, whether on purpose or on accident. They gotta have an outside cleaning crew come in, and then just general maintenance. You would know also comes in. Those are, and then also eventually every once in a while, there is like a guest of the royal family or a governor or someone important coming in from out of town who the warden shows around the prison.
So, and to address your other question, your other inquiry, standard visitors are quite limited. There are visiting hours, but as far as those who are not in the military who may be able to enter it, depends on their business. There are certain visitors that are allowed. There are obviously, you know, they have to have crew to assist with caring for the facility and ensuring, especially for your more dangerous criminals, that the prisoner is well guarded and that everything that needs to be done to ensure that the prisoner stays where they need to be, that all avenues have been addressed and that there is no weaknesses in their security systems.
Well, that seems like there could be a couple of openings for us.
Right. Certainly some of us stand out a bit more than others.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be hard to pose as typical cleaning crew person.
But if we posed, and I don't want to be saying this like at the gate, so like kind of like as we were walking around and as we're
You guys are still a couple streets away, but just the enormity of this thing, you're well seeing.
Great.
And can I have been keeping just an eye and ear out for anyone who may be passing by and
For sure.
listening?
For sure.
We're speaking in hushed tones.
Yeah.
I feel like it's worth
Still, I would still be
clarifying.
like,
Yelling it, just
Just
yelling it.
screeching.
It could be wise to be an inspection team, though, because it arguably, if we're inspecting magic, we would be magic users, and some of us would look different than others because we have the right skills. So we could all go, and if we're inspecting, then we could make the warden show us where he keeps his records, because we're inspecting to make sure that they're secure.
And that the records are accurate.
And then, I mean, we have plenty of tools to make notes that seem like they're Kaldorian focused, and we could be
you just see
from
an eyebrow raise.
and Faraday, when you left the military, were you on good terms?
It was called honorably discharged, but yes.
So, like, theoretically, you could be contracting out with somebody who also works in security, and you're like, I'm ex-military, so, like, now I work with security offices, and I help
And these are the foremost experts
in
in their
inspecting
various
magic.
fields.
Yeah,
We have the
structural engineer, and I
That's
point to
Shreya?
Shreya. I mean, he can, like, make the stuff move and seem like it's growing. That kind of seems like, no?
Well, does
He can make the rocks move, right? You can make the dirt move.
I could probably make it seem like I could manipulate the matter of the structure at will, and that I could make it seem to be impressive. Like I could have knowledge that I don't have, although I'm not as good at lying.
Also, we did come here with and I'll hush it, with the idea that Kellic was going on a healing journey, and I was a bodyguard, Shreya was a wolf.
But he could be making sure that all the prisoners are in good health.
Exactly.
And that all the guards are doing the right things, and that everyone is healthy, because they don't want prisoners dying unless they want them to die.
I think that might be more believable. You have
We
that
could
skill
all be
set.
those things, but
That's
he
true.
can't be a dog. Why would he be a
He
dog?
could be a dog. He could be.
He's my companion.
Or he sniffs out trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a good
I
idea.
can take any. This
And-
sounds strange to you.
and
I
I'll
can
be-
assume
I'll be
many
me.
forms.
And I'll be me, and I'm your warden.
Yeah,
I'm your
the
ward,
ward.
right? Not warden. I'm your ward, and you're teaching
Yes,
me.
this is Alma. She's here to be your new warden for your prison.
No, but you're teaching me, so I could be here helping you heal. I
That's
can't heal
right.
anything, though.
Typically, wards don't do much. They carry things,
Okay, so
So
I'll
you
just
just have
carry
to hold
things.
my bag.
And then you be the bodyguard. Okay, so I think
Yeah.
this is we could just use what we've already got going.
Yeah.
We've already got the notes and everything. We just make a little bit of additions to them.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about inspecting the health and welfare.
And if Faraday comes with us, she's just another bodyguard? That could make sense.
She's ex-military. We just hired more security who
Yeah.
know their way around.
I just poke
Do you
her-
know who the
poke her
warden
muscle.
is?
I think she'll do
Do you
fine.
know who the warden is who works here?
Would I know that whether they would contract out for, or if they had their own healers?
Health and safety.
Yeah, you've seen it happen a couple times. And it definitely wouldn't be out of the ordinary. And the time that you were there, there was actually sort of a transition period to where there wasn't an actual warden there. There were just a couple of high-ranking officers sort of filling that position. But by the time you left, that position hadn't yet been filled, so you don't know who the current warden is. But with that little plan in mind, you guys are beginning to
Let's get to it.
get this plan together. That is where we're going to end this session.
Oh, boy.
We're going to call it right there with the beginnings of a little prison break. So
We have a plan.
you guys have a plan.
Imagine having a plan.
Good plan.
All right. But with that, thank you all so much for listening, and we can't wait to see you all again next week. Bye, nerds.
Hey nerds, what's going on? This is Cameron, voice of Shreya. Just want to remind you guys, we so appreciate it when you guys follow us and interact with our social channels. It helps inform all of the work we do. Also, be sure to check out our Patreon. You get access to a lot of cool extras that everything that orbits the podcast and the universe. You never know what you're going to find there. So highly encourage y'all to check that out. Also, if you enjoy these episodes, try to check out our Harken Backs. It pulls all of the events that happen throughout all of the episodes and arranges them really nicely by our wonderful engineer and artistic mind, Shane. He groups them together in a fantastically condensed yet still meaningful way. So yeah, do all of those things if you'd like that I just mentioned, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, nerds.